All right, let's talk about your new data about President Biden's first 100 days. How did he stack up compared to former President Trump?
So he's far from perfect, but there's also no comparison. I counted 29 false claims from President Biden in his first 100 days. Again, I'm not throwing a party for President Biden for making 29 false claims, but that's about one every 3.5 days. For Trump, in his first 100 days, I counted 214 false claims, so about or more than 2 per day. And that was a slow period for Trump, Brian. In subsequent years, like the year I counted as a CNN reporter, he was averaging 8 false claims a day. So again, Biden not perfect. This is not a compliment to say he's much better than Trump, but it's a fact that he's much better than Trump.
People forget that Trump deteriorated in terms of his accuracy. It got worse and worse and worse over the 4 years. Here's what I think is most interesting about Biden. I've noticed, and you've noticed, he changes when he's been fact-checked. He course corrects. So you or other fact-checkers call him out, point out something's inaccurate. He does stop saying it in several different instances, maybe not fast enough. But that's a big difference from Trump. Biden or his team, whoever's writing his scripts, does seem to be reacting to fact-checking. Is that right?
It is in at least some cases. So there are some false or misleading claims that Biden has repeated without correction. But I've counted at least 2 cases in which he or his team said something wrong. I fact-checked it as false, others fact-checked it as false, and then they never said it again. They significantly amended their language. And one notable example is they rolled out their infrastructure plan by saying this will create 19 million jobs. Biden himself used a slightly more correct formulation, but it was still pretty misleading. And then when I said, look, this is false, this is misleading, they just never used that 19 million figure again. In fact, it's closer to 2.7 million jobs. So again, it's better if they never get it wrong in the first place. I'm not saying, let's all congratulate them for fixing their false claim, but it's much better and it's much different than what we saw in the Trump era, where you might see the president repeat the same false claim literally 100 times, even though it's been fact-checked, 30 of those times, they just didn't care.
Yeah. Nicole, 30 seconds left. This impact of the choose your own news culture, all these crazy lies coming out of Fox. Should we just ignore them? Should we just ignore the nonsense?
Well, yes and no. I think that we should ignore, the little instances and try not to amplify them. What we should do is we should work to put them in context. So rather than just saying, no, Joe Biden isn't coming for your hamburgers, we can talk about the role that lies play as a rhetorical and a political strategy for trying to discredit the Biden administration and to advance a different kind of politics. And that contextualization, I think, is a much better way to approach this that keeps us from simply spreading or amplifying these false stories.
Yeah, let's add value. Absolutely. Daniel and Nicole, thank you both.